Hello everybody, it's Stuart McAdam here, and in today's video we're going to be doing a walkthrough of a Facebook ad setup for my powerful client Marple Antiques, so you can get an idea as to how it works. Just before we get started, though, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and smash that like button for support. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do is click the green button for create, and we want to set up a conversion based campaign for sales. This is an e-commerce client, so obviously the most important thing is getting sales, getting money in the bank. Make sure that you give your campaign a good name as you start, so that it's clear and specific as to what you're doing. Now you have two options here. We want to go for manual sales campaign. The Advantage Plus campaign, in brutally honest terms, is rubbish. So I'm then coming over to my client's account, getting their website URL, so that when we can go into the particular ad itself, we can just paste the URL in. So right here, I'm just setting up the conversion event and setting up the budget as well, so that it's within the operating limit for the client. Coming down, you can see the sort of target locations. We're going into the ad group now, and we're going to, I think, have a look at what we want to set up, and it's a carousel based image. And you can see there, there's the different image cards that you can add in. Now, because they weren't the ones that I wanted in there, I had to go over to the client's website to select a couple of them and identify which ones are worth having. So here's a couple that I found that we'll add in, and we'll just select one after the other, and just click down on it, and you can select up to 10 images. So you'll shortly see a lot of them will auto populate in. And if you have a look at the call to action button, we just want to change it from learn more to shop now, because we don't just want people to learn about the product, we want them to purchase it. So we're also coming across as well to a couple of other images that are available. And the reason why I went after this particular product is because it's over $1,000 in value. So it's not too much that someone would be extremely hesitant to buy, but it's also one where, someone who is interested in this type of product is likely to go ahead and purchase, particularly if they see it in the carousel image. Same thing here. It's priced enough at a premium so that if someone really wants it, they can buy it. But again, not too much where it becomes a bit of a hassle. So we're just going through this process again and again, each and every single time, because we want to make sure that every product that we've got has got some sort of relevance and got some sort of theme going to it as well. So you can see that we're choosing particular products that have got a good level price point, so that people can see that it's valuable enough, and good quality images as well, so that nobody would feel overly hesitant about going further with an inquiry about it. And you can see here, it's just a case of identifying which products have got the most value for someone. And this is something that's really important, particularly when you're setting up your own Facebook ads, is trying to find images that you can put into the e-commerce ads that are standing out quite substantially compared to others. Some are not going to have the same level of appeal. So just make sure you look at what stands out the most to you, but also maybe validate that by getting a couple of other people's feedback as well. So you can see here, there's a couple of extra products that I decided to save and identify, whether or not it's worth having. That one image with a light just beaming down on it in the top right corner wasn't suitable. So, it's just a continuous numbers game, and you always want to be sure about the images. So don't be afraid to check them and zoom right in on them, because sometimes Facebook is going to zoom the images in, or crop the images in a bit of an awkward way. So if you are setting up images for Advantage Plus campaigns, it could zoom in or out accordingly. So always make sure that you've got those images that are suitable. And you can see here that that was definitely another image that was quite interesting to have a look at. And then we've got, a whole round of other images that came up. And look, it was, a bit of a push to find like the ideal images and ones that, if someone is scrolling down on their Facebook feed, really stands out to them. So you've always just got to be mindful of that someone's going on Facebook and Instagram very often to have a break and see what's going on. So it's good to give them content, particularly in this instance, an antique lover that enjoys these types of products. So we're just going into the Facebook ads library for now, and this is kind of to get a bit of an idea around what some good ad copy options could possibly be, and if we could repurpose anything that's out there at the moment that's been performing for a while now. And very often there are like a couple of ads that really begin to stand out a little bit more. And I didn't go for anything antiques related because very often that just gets a bit what's the word? A bit saturated and a bit too stale in terms of the actual copy itself. And very often you can just repurpose something that's been done quite successfully for a while now. And there was one option right here that I found that is quite good, and this was one which I just pasted straight in and just repurposed it a little bit. So if you have a look at what it is, you can see that it's the find the most beautiful gifts. And it's a bit of a process. You can't just take it all out word for word. You have to find a way to repurpose it. And just structure it so that it's similar to the brand values and the brand voice of the particular client that you're working with. So it's I've got here: find the most beautiful, charming, and unique holiday gifts this year at Marple Antiques and Collectibles. And that's just really the focus point for them. You want these gifts to be for somebody um, to really treasure and value. That's the whole ethos of it. And you can take a lot of the copy off of the website if it's a good quality ad copy, and then you just here I just chucked the URL in and placed it into the website URL link, and then you just give it a good headline. So in this particular example, I just said Christmas gifts, and you can click on that button there and you can just apply it to all the cards on it. Now, if you want to give it a little bit of variety and a little bit of change, you can go in and edit it on the different cards itself. And that's something that I definitely wanted to at least give a try on one of them. But normally it's good to give it a go on a couple of different things. So here you can see in this example, you can just add one or two particular keywords, and all you have to do is make sure that you've got a couple of different iterations, because if everything's exactly the same, it's not really going to give Facebook the best possible chance of structuring and ordering the carousel so that the best performing headline shows up if they're all the same. You want to have different images but also different headlines as well, and then just let it the algorithm do a lot of the work there. And that's something which is often overlooked. And in this particular case, it's just a continuous, ongoing journey of restructuring and re-editing until you get the exact version that you like. So someone will see a Facebook ad and they may think, "Oh, that's taken only a couple of minutes to smack together," but this setup right here that I'm doing right now is from 8 years of experience, thousands of hours of learning, testing, iterations to bring it together nicely in the time period that's available. And I also did a bit of preparation beforehand, and I've worked with this client for many years now, so I've got a good idea of what they are after. And you can see that we're also adding in additional ad copy right now to give the Facebook platform as much of a chance as possible to show the ad to people in a way in which they're likely to respond to it. And this is something which is very often is still to this day an overlooked thing. You know, not a lot of people are consistently giving Facebook more than one ad copy, primary text, one headline, and so on. They'll just have the one. So this is providing it with a bit more flexibility, and it's allowing them to really take what's there and give it a different iteration. So, you know, if we had all the headlines the same, all the primary text as the same, just one of each, it would give you possibly up to 12 different ways in which the ad was to be served to audiences that are interested in the products. But just by adding an extra piece of primary text, you times that by two, so it gives you 24 different ways, because you've got two possible text options, 10 possible ways in which the ad can be served, and so on. So it's also very interesting. I'm going back here, checking to make sure I've got what I want. And as time goes on, just zooming in to show you something which is, you know, important for a lot of people to know, which is here is just the sort of spelling variation on collectibles, because it's different from country to country. And what we're doing now is we're pushing to get a little bit more of a preview of what it'll look like. And if you see the advanced preview on the right hand section of the screen, you can see that you can see the different variations with the primary text and headlines as well. And we're going to sort of look right now as we scroll down. Just a quick review of the ad copy. Happy with that. We're then going to take the URL out of the first one, copy it, and just add a final little bit of text. And then once we've added that in, we're just going to wait a little bit more, because the next thing that's going to happen is we're going to exit out of it, and then we're going to create a duplicate version of it. Obviously, when you're in Facebook ads, it can sometimes be hard to see how some of the variations are working, you know, when it comes to primary text. So it sometimes makes a bit more sense to divide it up by two and give yourself a bit more of a chance to add that in separately. So you'll see now that I'm coming down, I'm just adding in the client's Instagram account that I want to use on that one, and also just give it a bit of a rename. You don't just want add one copy. You want to, you know, structure it a little bit smarter. So coming down to it, we've given it the new name. We are then going to go and wait shortly, and I'll just resume in a wee bit so you can see what's happening. So we're coming down. We are changing the image out a little bit this time, so we want to give ourselves a bit more of variety. And, you know, you can only add one image at a time for the sort of the carousel one. If you want to upload it in bulk, I just recommend going to the media library. So, you know, this can be a bit of a tedious, drawn out process, but I think when having different images, particularly for an antiques based company, you want to make sure that you're giving people as many product images as possible to have a look at, because the products themselves can be quite pricey, and it's not necessarily an impulse purchase you're going to be making on this one. Like, when you're at the supermarket buying something that's on special. Like this product is runs into the hundreds, possibly even the thousands of dollars. So it's got to be a bit of a timely decision as to how you are going to go about that. So in this example, like I'm just looking at swapping the images out a little bit more and ensuring that there's a bit of variation that comes into the particular ads that people are having a look at. And you can see from these images, like I've gone after the ones that I had spent a bit of time downloading a bit earlier on, and it's all sort of fitting in quite nicely. And you want to ensure that it's images that fit within the parameters of Facebook itself. So sometimes people do make the mistake of having image sizing that doesn't align with Facebook stories or Facebook news feeds, where the image itself is not vertical enough, or is horizontally crooked, and so on. So in this example there, I always wanted to make sure that any of the images that I was choosing were of a high quality spec, and that's just something that comes with time and with experience, which is selecting those good quality images. And you basically want to have something that stands out just a little bit, as I explained before. So as all of these images are uploading, you can see that if someone was an antique or collectible fan, they would be really interested in having a bit of a look at these particular product images. So it's just been quite a swap out on a lot of these different images, making sure that a lot of them are a good quality, but also making sure that it's images that do stand out. You can have a very good quality image that just blends right into Facebook, or you can have an image that is, stand out, and also the sort of quality specs that you're after. So I'm just right here, I'm just continuing to just get the images out, because that's the variation that I want. I want to have those different image variations as well. I want there to be more than 25 different ways in which both of these ads can be served on Facebook. And you can see so far that this is possible with the different images, and also with the different ad copies and different headlines as well. There are so many different ways in which this ad can now be served to people, which is a real positive. And this is a bit of a tedious process, and sometimes people can find the whole thing of setting up Facebook ads to be quite boring. And look, to be honest, sometimes it can be, but it's a necessary requirement for you in order to be successful on the platform, to have the discipline and the systems and the processes and the planning in place to set up ad campaigns in this particular way, because this is what is ultimately going to help you to succeed on the platform. So we're slowly coming towards a lot of this. We're looking at the display URL. You can click on that preview link if you want to test it to make sure it's working. I'd highly recommend that, even if you know it does, because the last thing you want to do is a faulty link that Facebook disapproves, and then all of a sudden your ad account could possibly get disabled. So we're now coming up to a third variation here, which is changing the call to action button. So on the other ones, I had the shop now version. Here, I want to use the order now one to again see if that's something that people are more likely to respond to overall, or is it just something that is based on speculation. You never want to leave any guesswork in it. If you think it is something that is worth testing, go ahead and test it. So in this example here, we have got the order now call to action button, which is fantastic, and it's really giving another dimension and yet another way in which the ads can be served up to people in a different way. Because people respond to different call to action buttons in the same way they respond to a lot of other things in life differently. So, someone who sees a shop now call to action button may not see the sense of urgency as opposed to order now, which is a little bit more direct and may catch their attention a bit more. So, you can see here we are adding yet another ad into this particular campaign. And for this one, we are just going to make another small adjustment on it. And once again, it's going to be on the um, the order now one, and but it's one's for ad one is for ad two. So there's no sort of guesswork of thinking, oh, if we had set up ad one with the order now button, down the line, there's a lot of conversions from the order now one on ad one. There's no guesswork as to will it have also been successful with ad two. You've got it set up straight away, and you can see from the get go whether or not it is working. And that's I'm coming back and just renaming it the shop now order now. So when I go into the ad campaign itself later on, I can actually see whether or not it has been effective or is working at the end of the day. So that's something that's really important to remember. Targeting location, we've got Australia. Age group targeting, I just altered that one a little bit because I wanted to make sure that people were absolutely certain. Within the target age group, we found that there's a sweet point for that. We removed targeting on some of the weaker placement targeting that is on this particular campaign. And once that was done, we basically kept on moving towards that and started having a look at some of the final things that needed to be in this campaign and just doing the final checks. So you can see there, we moved to include the full inventory for the inventory filter because that's something which is valuable in terms of reaching more people. And once all that's been done, you can see that I'm just doing a final check over of everything and making sure that it's all set up and in place. And now we're coming towards the final check. So just looking at sort of stories and reels, there's only one placement there which I didn't want to have on, which was the messenger stories, for reasons I'll explain another day. And review it again and make sure that once all that's done, we can hit the publish button, and there it is. So that's a quick look at walking through an actual Facebook campaign as I'm setting it up. I'm doing this recording the voiceover quite a bit later on, so I'm not sort of thinking and setting up as I go. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.